Hey, I'm Dr. Theresa Bullard, and in this video, I would like to talk to you about the divine masculine energy and how we can really come to balance between divine masculine and divine feminine, as well as how to really truly honor the divine masculine and draw more of that out into our society. Now, in my last video, I talked all about the divine feminine and how the divine feminine truly is meant to create and embody its empowerment. Now in this video though, we want to really explore the divine masculine. Now again, I'm going to share with you from a perspective of universal principles, cosmic principles of creation, physics principles. What is masculine and feminine when we take all the humanness out of it? Because these are principles of creation, and they are the two most important and powerful principles of creation in our entire universe. And when we can come to understand what these two principles are and how they're different in nature, yet equally powerful, equally important, and equally divine, then we can come to have a better relationship with them in our own lives and how they show up within us. Because we all have feminine and masculine within us. And obviously in our world, we have men, we have women, we have these two energies, regardless of sexual orientation. This is about energy flow. So when it comes to the process of creation, the masculine energy is expansive. It is a force. It is meant to initiate the process of creation, to set the direction to things, it is a will to create, and it's purpose driven. So this masculine energy is purpose-driven, it's goal-oriented, and it sets the course and it drives the energy forward towards the fulfillment of that goal or towards that purpose. So anytime any of us are initiating something, we're in our masculine. Anytime we're really goal-oriented or purpose-driven, we're in our masculine energy. And that's okay. Now, as women, we have both masculine and feminine, but we've also gotten to this place in our world where a lot of women who are wanting to be in their power tend to do so in more of a masculine way. They're very assertive, they're very driven, they're out there, they're career oriented, they're, strong and in their power in a way that is, kind of hard. It's very masculine. And they're doing and doing and doing and trying to accomplish all these things, and it's very outwardly oriented. Now, there's nothing wrong with being outwardly oriented or purpose-driven or any of that. It's just a very masculine way of being. Now, as women, this way of being is not sustainable for us if we're doing it all the time, right? So we have to look at what is balance for us as women. And balance is not being majority in our masculine energy, because while we can do that, we'll find that it's actually very depleting to us as women. Whereas when we're more in our feminine energy, it's more renewing, it's more restorative. And so balance to us isn't even 50-50, 50% in our masculine, 50% in our feminine. That's not quite balanced for us either, because it's sort of like straddling the fence. It's still, maybe you're putting out just as much as you're renewing yourself, and you're not ever really feeling quite full or refilled. It's always just quite enough. Whereas when we're in our feminine, it's more like 70% in our feminine, 30% in our masculine, or maybe 60-40, but there's more feminine and a little bit less masculine when we are a woman trying to flow in a feminine way, but with balance. So for example, 70% of our time we'll be doing things that really feel nurturing and fulfilling and creative, and they energize us. And then 30% of our time we'll be doing the things that require an expensive energy, that require us to really apply and assert and make things happen. So this is, as a woman, since this is about women's empowerment, this is how we can start to find some of that balance between our own masculine and feminine side. But what about our world? How do we find that balance between men and women and masculine and feminine flow within our world? And this is where we have been going really astray lately in our society. We have these trends of looking at the masculine and talking about it as if it's a bad thing to be in one's masculine energy. And when we label things like toxic masculinity, now we're saying masculinity is toxic. And that is really dishonoring towards masculinity, which is actually divine. And while yes, there are toxic people, it has nothing to do with masculinity. It has to do with people being in their negative ego and being, in greed or power struggles and so forth. Women do that too, though, right? So it's not about masculinity or femininity being toxic. It's just people being people in their humanness. And so let's get rid of this label of toxic masculinity, and let's start reframing our language so that we can honor masculinity in its proper expression. When we start recognizing that masculinity is valuable, is needed in this world, it is divine in its nature, and it is something that we all actually really want to have, because it's an integral part of our ability to co-create a better world on this planet. So when we start recognizing that masculinity is a good thing, and re-acknowledging and reviving that conversation of what is it to truly be, like for a man to truly be embodying divine masculine energy, not from a place of softness, which is feminine, right? Like there's a lot of trends towards masculinity that's becoming more and more androgynous, or more and more soft and sensitive and caring, and that's fine, but it's more feminine. Those are feminine qualities. And yeah, they might feel more safe to us because, when someone's really embodying their masculine energy, there's strength, there's force, there's, assertiveness, there's this confidence that comes and it's very directive. And sometimes, if we're not confident within ourselves, we might sort of shrink before that because it is so strong and so powerful. That's not a problem with the masculine. That's a problem with us needing to come into our own confidence in who we are and our ability to hold a feminine empowerment versus trying to diminish the masculine so that we feel more comfortable. So to bring this back into a place of balance within our society, we as women need to really start honoring the masculine again, lifting it up, drawing out that conversation where the masculine is a good thing. When the masculine is able to initiate, to harness those forces and direct them towards the accomplishment of a purpose, that it serves a higher mission, and accomplish those goals in a way that really is according to the will to create the good, right? And to strive to, create the best that we can and to expand the light in our world. These are all very good things. And so the more we start to affirm that, the more we start to draw out that conversation and recognize that and appreciate that when we see that in men, and the more we affirm that, the more we're encouraging that, the more we're drawing it out, the more it will be expressed in our world. So we as women, again, as the birthers of what gets manifested in our world, we need to start changing our own internal conversation about masculinity, because this is a very important and needed energy in our world today. And we're going to have the best relationships with men when we actually honor and affirm those men for the things that we see them doing, that we appreciate, that we see are good things. And rather than always diminishing and cutting down and labeling, and whether it's saying something like toxic masculinity or man-child or misogynistic and all of these kinds of negative words that we come up with, let's start looking at chivalry again. Let's start looking at when the masculine is, really holding that strength and that goodness within. And, often they really want to hold space for the feminine as well, to support the feminine in coming into her empowerment. And we need to affirm that. And they can be so generous and so kind and so ready to protect and provide. And these are really important things. And so actually what we need in our world more today is strong masculinity, benevolent masculinity, the application of masculinity that is wise, that is purpose-driven, and that is, really trying to protect the good of the whole and drive us forward with strong leadership that we can all know and trust and feel comfortable and safe with, but in a safety where we also know our own power. We don't need them to diminish and reduce their power in order for us to feel more powerful. We need to rise to our own power as women and as feminine in order to meet that divine masculine And also as we as women rise up into our divine feminine and our goddess and our queenhood, it's going to challenge men to also rise up to their divine masculine and their kingship. And this is what we want. We all want to rise up together rather than sinking down into, mediocrity or disempowerment or being too afraid to express the fullness of who we are. And one of the best ways that we can really draw out and encourage more of that divine masculine expression is when we affirm it, when we express our appreciation for when a man is really doing something chivalrous, for example. If a man holds open a door for you, then say, thank you, that was very kind of you, versus, why are you holding open a door for me? I can do it myself. I don't need a man. Yes, we do want chivalry in this world. Don't discourage it. Affirm it, right? One of the things that can go so far and such a long way when it comes to men is just affirming them in their service. When they do something, an act of service for us, like appreciate that, affirm that. That goes so far with encouraging them to do more of that, right? They operate based on where they are appreciated for their service in this world. So we need to bring forward more of our appreciation and expressing that appreciation for men in the world and for the masculine and the good things that they do, the good things that they bring, especially when they're trying to be kind or chivalrous or gentlemanly. If we want to see more gentlemen in the world, then we need to start affirming those behaviors again, rather than always just cutting down. What we focus on is what will expand. What we put our attention towards and our conversation towards and our affirmation towards, that is what's going to expand. The men are going to respond to that. So it is our duty, our responsibility as women, if we want to see that divine masculine come into greater strength in our world again, to meet us in our own empowerment, in a synergistic way between masculine and feminine that's balanced, that's beautiful, that's co-creative, then it is our role as women to start affirming that rather than complaining about what we don't like. And the other thing that we really want to be okay with and encourage is, at one point in time on our planet, men had rites of passage, women had rites of passage. And this was an important part of the process of coming to greater maturity, greater manhood, greater womanhood. And these rites of passage are something that we need to bring back into our world. Allow the men to get together and help, the elder men helping the younger men to grow and mature and go through those rites of passage in a way that is truly masculine. And the women, the elder women coming together, forming, circles to help support the younger women coming into their maturity and moving through their various phases of life in a way that is truly feminine. And these are something that if we can start bringing these back into our world, and then the two mix together, feminine and masculine, and come together in honor of each other and co-creation and celebration, and community rites of passage or community celebrations and ceremonies, this is where we can really bring the magic and the balance back into our world between divine feminine and divine masculine. So I hope that this has supported you and that you've gotten some value and some insight out of this. And if you like this, or if you also think that somebody else needs to hear this message, then please do share with others so that we can spread these teachings and spread these new awarenesses to help bring this balance back into our world. Also, please do like and subscribe to the YouTube channel and stay tuned as we bring more great content and videos for you to enjoy.